Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Leadership at the local level often begins with a deep sense of responsibility, one rooted in community, service, and vision. Tonight, we're honored to sit down with someone who has chosen to step into that responsibility with intention. Our conversation will focus on the journey behind public service, what inspired our guest to run for office, how he balances leadership with family, faith, and career, and what he hopes to accomplish in the next chapter of service. It's my pleasure to welcome my friend and town of Poughkeepsie 5th Ward Councilman Ryan Sharp. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, man. Honored, honored.
Man, it is my honor to have you with us this morning, man. And you're a powerful man, and you're doing great things. And I was inspired to have this conversation with you, and hopefully, our conversation today will be shared and inspire others to pick up their walk and their purpose in life.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so before we get into this, before we begin, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us, continue service in our community. We appreciate the work that you do behind the scenes. And so let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. So what inspired you for public office?
A phone call, man. I was home one Sunday morning and a friend of mine reached out to me and he says, listen, there is an available spot on the town board. Are you interested? It's in your ward. And
Mm,
at the time, I had no idea what a ward was or what a town board member really did. I'm from the city, so I'm accustomed to city council people, etc. But I learned quickly that there's a lot that aligns with what happens in the city and the town. Towns operate a little differently, but the officers or the offices are similar. So whereas here in the town, we have a supervisor that would be the city's mayor. And whereas we have town board members, the city would have city council members. So
mm,
in essence, what he was asking me was whether I would be interested in serving as a part of the local legislative and policy making board. And that really was what awakened my entrance into the service role. The opportunity was presented by a phone call by someone who knew about the opportunity. And
mm,
that's really how I got interested or got an awareness that this was even possible for me.
mm. That's interesting. And when you got that phone call, what was your initial feeling in that moment?
Well, it was early on a Sunday morning. And, I
Hmm.
said phone call, but I believe it was actually a text message. And so my wife and I, we went back and forth. I was just like, listen, I heard from my friend, and he's saying there's this opportunity, but he needs me to get back to him within a short time. What are your thoughts? And we went back and forth. My wife, I was like, you should probably do it. But we at the time, my youngest Tatum was a few months old. So it would really be putting a lot on my wife to take on that responsibility. She's an excellent leader. And, my town I knew would have benefited if she had the time to do it. So we both agreed that maybe I should give it a shot. And giving it a shot meant, a number of steps. I needed to reach out to the chair of the town's Democratic Party, and she would interview me. That I was learning all the steps in real time. And
Hmm.
then if she really approved, she would present it to a larger committee, and then I would get an endorsement.
Wow, wow. And that's interesting. So obviously that interview went well.
Yeah.
The endorsement went well. The
Mhm.
campaign went well. And
Yes,
you're
sir.
in your second term now?
Second term now, second term. Uh, Town board members serve 2-year terms.
Hmm.
And, so my first term, really started a couple of years ago. And then just this past year, I ran again in November and I was successful again.
Okay, okay. Let me just do a little technical thing here. Every once in a while you get a little echoey, so I want you to just check your sound. I don't want to make sure no one misses these important things that you have to say.
No doubt.
So just double check that real quick. I want to make sure we don't lose you because
Okay.
this is really, really important stuff that we want to
Sure.
share.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So public service,
Hmm.
comes with a lot of responsibilities. How
Mhm.
have your personal values and faith influenced the way you approach this?
I like to tell people, man, that I feel like the church really prepared me for this role
Mm-hmm.
because so many of the skill sets that I employ come from the way I was socialized as a church boy. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
afraid, not ashamed to say I was
Mm-hmm.
raised in the church and exposed to leadership in the church. So
Mm-hmm.
public speaking, collaborative leadership, working with different groups of people and, working with teams and putting things together. That's really a strength that I developed in service in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the things that I do requires me working with people or getting the answers from other people.
Mm-hmm.
On any given day, I'll get a call from a resident about a sign that needs to be repainted, maybe a speed sign or a no parking sign, and then I have to reach out to maybe the chief of police or, whether it's a snow removal issue, the highway superintendent. But before even doing that, sometimes I'm reaching out to a board member who has seen this issue before to say, how do I approach this? And then having them, set me up or lead me to the right person.
Mm.
So much of what I do requires bringing people together and problem solving. But that skill set was developed in the church. So I think church service really prepared me to do the type of work that I'm doing now because I'm not doing it all on my own. So often I'm just bringing people together, some of them with the skill sets that I don't have, to find the answers for other people.
That's really great. That's really great. So understanding the experience from your church,
Sure.
participation, leadership, opportunities for collaboration really impacts how your career in public service and also in your professional service
Yeah.
is going. And so how do you balance your life, your
Hmm.
career, your public service, your church service? That's a lot on on
Yeah.
some one person's plate. How do you balance all of that?
Man, I wish I had a short answer for that because so often it's finding spots in every day where I can do what I need to do. And
Hmm.
sometimes it means doing absolutely nothing and just brainstorming or, allowing the process to play out. And, sometimes in the NBA, they would say, have the game come to you instead of forcing the game
I like
because
that.
turnovers. So sometimes it's sitting still, just praying about it and waiting for the right answer or right approach. And then sometimes just going off, you know, okay, this is the right time. You need to move now or just do something now. Because at the end of the day, even if it falls apart or even if there's some failure in the process, it's not wasted
Hmm.
because I can regroup and look back at, what worked well this time? What can I improve on? What needs some retooling? So, there's no short answer to the balance because we only have so much time every day. And I
Hmm.
have a full-time job as a public defender, which is also very demanding. And as you know, I also serve in church in other capacities. So it's just a matter of finding spots in every day, knowing that I need to get some things done and I have certain goals. What am I going to do today to accomplish these goals? And sometimes, most times, I'm multitasking. So balance is a work in progress for me. Some days I do it a lot better than other days. And then some days, like regular food, I'm like Elijah, like, Lord, this is too much for me. I'm the only one here doing what I'm doing. And then he'll reveal to me, man, I got other people doing the same work.
Hmm.
You're being overwhelmed is not unique. It's all a part of leadership, but it's important to rest one, but it's also important to reflect on the process and what may have worked and what hasn't worked. And then balance says you got to give time to your family. You got to give time to yourself. You
Hmm.
got to give time to your health, and you got to give time to people. And so all of these things are a work in progress for me. And I'm better on most days than on others. And I think God is showing me that as He goes with me on this journey, it'll get better. And I'll do more things and I'll be even more impactful.
Wow. That's very powerful as you
Mhm.
say that, and Your work as a public defender is also extremely time consuming, but it's
Yes.
also community service based.
Sure.
And so your church work, your family, your councilman work, your profession seems to all be in that same vein of service to others. Talk
Mhm.
about that.
Well, one of the things I also, it may have come out in the conversation, but I gotta highlight this point that accountability is also a key component of every sphere that I work in. At the public defender's office, I'm accountable to clients and I'm accountable to the court. So I'm always giving reports on the progress of clients. That means reaching out to entities that serve my clients, whether it's a substance abuse entity or mental health
Hmm.
entity, um, so that I can advise the court or opposing counsel of the progress. And that's in the family court or criminal setting. But I also have to do that for my local church. I'm accountable to the church board. I'm accountable to the membership. I'm accountable to those who I serve with. The town board is no different. I'm accountable to residents. I'm accountable to my supervisor, the town supervisor, but I'm also accountable to other town board members. So the accountability factor um, drives what I do because then my leadership also has to be principled. I'm not reporting on something that I haven't done or
Hmm.
work that I haven't done. And that also inspires the work and it inspires the balance that I bring to the work because if I'm toxic or if my approach or my working style offends people, then I won't accomplish the results that I need to accomplish. So, I said this to my son the other day about the work I do. And I says, Nathan, you can be great. And he says, Daddy, what do you mean? I says, if you serve, the Bible says anyone can be great because anyone can serve. So I think service allows all of us to tap in to the greatness God has blessed us with.
That right there is a powerful, powerful statement. And I can see that that is central to your core, to your faith, to your life. Service, and to share that with your son is one of the most powerful things I've heard in a long time because we live in a world that teaches the opposite, right? Talk about what you think about that. I don't want to. This is not my interview. You talk about that.
For sure, man. Service hits the core of who we are.
Hmm.
I've often heard it said that most times by doing things for others, we become more energized. It's not what often drives service, but you'll find that at the end of the day, you've committed your time, you've committed your resource, you've committed your ear, your heart, your hands to someone else. It inspires you to go forward. It has the ability to encourage those who are discouraged. It has the ability to give peace to those who are overwhelmed. It has the ability to expand the reach of those who feel their reach is limited. Service seems to be that driving force that awakens uh, that impact in us or that ability or that capacity to do more than we anticipated when we first started. So I love to see that in leaders. And you could see the opposite also follows. If you're not serving with people in mind, if you're doing it for your own advancement, it doesn't have the impact. In fact, when history looks back, people will say, man, there is something about that moment that hurts or impacted us in a negative way. But when service at its core, and we learned that with Jesus and the disciples, when he says, come, let me wash your feet, and he begins the process of showing them that even though you're dirty and you've walked over the all types of stuff, at the core, when I call you to who I am, I'm going to show you compassion. I'm going to show you other centeredness. I'm going to show you that this is what brings out the best in us when
Mm.
we truly and when we truly desire to serve others.
Wow. I think the
Yeah.
interview, this conversation, Ryan, to be honest with you, is it can be wrapped up in that because that really, when it comes down to, is our whole purpose for living. Is to love God and to love our fellow man, to serve God and to serve each other. And like we said, the world is topsy-turvy now. The world is the opposite. It's about what can I get? Look at me. How do I get more followers? How do I get more attention? How do I get more money? And so, for someone to hear that, for your son to hear that, growing up in this world where everything is the opposite is a powerful statement, not just for him, but for everyone and all of us. So I want to thank you for sharing that. And I do believe that that right there is a mantra for all of us to live by. Yeah,
Yeah.
so thanks for sharing that. We're gonna try to wrap this up because we won't keep you. I know you have a long day to go. A lot of things ahead of you today. So looking ahead, what are some of the key priorities you hope to accomplish in your next term?
So the town board, as I had indicated, is the legislative and policy making body of the town. And I'm in the town of Poughkeepsie, which has 6 ward members and a supervisor. We have a population of about 45,000 people. When I ran the first time, one of the core issues was finding a police station and a court, a building for courts and police that would not um, impact the residents when it came to taxes. So, the cost and the associated expenses while giving the police a suitable building and the courts a suitable building would not price people out. So I ran on that issue. In the coming year, we hope to find a location for our police and our courts that will have some expenses, yes, but our hope is that we will be able to move our police within a short time to a suitable building and that, the cost and the expenses associated won't price people out. The other issues we have, of course, are recreational activities for our seniors and our youth. During the past year, we did a lot for our seniors. We have a senior center that helps our seniors to know that you're not forgotten. They're able to meet there. They can play bingo. There are all types of recreational activities that are planned for them. So they know that what you've contributed to our town in the past is not forgotten. We love you. We care about you. And there are young people who we have assortment of camps for them. And the basketball camp is a big one. We collaborated during this past summer with the Kingston YMCA. We got grant funding for that. So my son was also able to participate in the summer. And during this past winter, there was a winter league again for our kids.
Mm.
Um, and then the environment is critical. The Hudson River. We have a number of entities and committees that come together to meet to talk about preserving our water sources. And, the environment is critical because that implicates our present and our future. And we have a lot planned for our town in terms of lifting the spirits of people. A lot of people are invested in ensuring that our town goes in the right direction. And I'm so happy to be a part of that process. But if I could say it in a nutshell, legislation and policy is also driven by the needs of people, and hearing about those needs are critical. So, one of the things that I enjoy doing is meeting residents at their home and talking to them about their concerns. During the last year, we tried to improve 20 plus parks that we have in the town because we recognize, and you're a health person as well, being on the outdoors and having access to fresh air and having safe spaces where you can exercise and your kids can play. It helps to lift and it's important for your own mental health. So
Hmm.
there's so many things that the town board does on a daily and weekly basis that impacts not only the present but the future of residents. So I'm happy and I'm honored that residents went to the polls and decided through their vote they wanted to give me another opportunity along with the town board members and the supervisor to lead or to continue to lead the town in a positive direction.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Some of the things you say, you talked about resonate with me. As you know, I enjoy, you know, sports activities. I enjoy outdoor activities. So
Mhm.
a lot of those things, I enjoy community activities. And, you know, if I live closer to your area, I'd volunteer for some of that, you know, to support some of that. But I'm really, really, really excited that you're doing, you and the councilmen and all the other councilwomen, council people are doing such great work in the town of Poughkeepsie. As we close this, so give me your closing thoughts. What would you like to leave anyone that will listen to this? What driving thought? I love the other idea about, you know, about service and about the call to that. But give me one final thought.
I would say we should be open to opportunities and how those opportunities present. It's going to
Hmm.
look different for everyone. You know,
Hmm.
mine from a text message or, you know, just an invitation to consider this option. But somebody may be tapping you to do ministry or a ministry area that you've never done before.
Hmm.
Because you've never done it before, you're thinking, man, I could never do that. And I'm suggesting that our growth sometimes, most times, comes from doing the thing that's unconventional or uncomfortable, stepping out into an area that you've never served in. It may surprise you what you can accomplish by stepping out in faith when an opportunity presents itself. And sometimes that opportunity will come based on a need that you observe. It may not come from a direct call, but it could be just from your own observation. This is missing, this is lacking. And if given, if I step in, I wanted to say if given the opportunity, but that's the opportunity. If I were to step out and offer my services, could I make a difference? And I'm suggesting that if that's the calling, that if that impression is on your heart, then it may be the calling of the man upstairs for you to do something that you've never done before. And, you know, when I went to the watch party the first time the results were coming in, I had a conversation with my wife and I asked her, I says, what if it doesn't work out? How would I explain the outcome to my children? How will I explain defeat or that this didn't work out the way daddy wanted it to? And I think that's a part of the journey too. If I had not been successful, what would it have meant for my journey? It may have meant running again and doing some things differently. But it's not the end, even if it doesn't work out when you step out on faith. Sometimes it means regrouping, giving it a little time, and giving it a different approach. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And many of us on our journey have had missteps, we've had setbacks, we've had failures. But I don't think God has closed that chapter for us. He still wants us to be His hands, His heart, His eyes, and His ears. And I think there's an opportunity waiting for all of us. It may look differently. It may not mean public service the way I'm doing it. It may mean local ministry, but there is something waiting for each of us to do. And the opportunity looks different for all of us. But if you have an impression on your heart that something needs to be done and it drives you crazy, probably keeps you up, and it may agitate you, that is also an opportunity that may be knocking, and you should give that some serious reflection and consideration. And again, no man is an island. We're not here alone. There are many times I reach out to Elder Hall, my friend here, for counsel, and God has given each of us that person
Hmm.
when we're in that space where something looks unique, or
Hmm.
some looks, there may be something driving us to step into that arena. And it may be useful to talk to someone. God places people in our lives who can give us clarity. So don't overlook that aspect as well. I think many of us, there's an opportunity knocking. It may look differently, but we could reach out to those we trust to give us good advice. And I believe God is calling all of us to step out in faith in 2026, to do something different, to do something unconventional. But there's something on your heart that says, now is the time to move. And I'm hoping to hear the stories of those who've moved in those unconventional areas, because it's going to blow your mind what will happen when you step out in faith.
Yeah, man, thank you for that, man. It's a powerful, powerful ending statement. I appreciate you. Our time is up today. I'm so excited for what God is doing in your life. I'm not what He's about to do, what He's doing right now. And the town of Poughkeepsie is in a great place. I was at the swearing in ceremony, and there's a positive energy that's infectious in that community. So may God richly bless you as you continue to work with that community, work with the other councilmen and councilwomen, and work with the other administrative staff and people and residents of that community. May God lift you up and as you lift them up. Thank you again for being with us today.
Appreciate and love you, my elder. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, man. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Our blessings. Thank you
All right,
so much.
blessing. Thank you.